you detaining me? You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job because you are detaining me for nothing. You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job. Oh my goodness. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job because you are detaining me for nothing. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job because you are detaining me
for nothing. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, folks, each and everybody. My name is Lamont King. You're welcome into the program. Let's go live. Let's go. Each and every day, Monday through Thursday. I guess that's not each and every day, but Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. to 6 Eastern time, right here on Facebook Live and YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel so I can keep this thing going. I told you the goal at the beginning of the week was trying to get 1,000 subscribers by the weekend. That's what management urged me to do. My literary agent, my theatrical agent, my commercial agent, my business manager, my accountant, my property manager, my landlord, my kindergarten teacher. They all said I need 1,000 subscribers by the end of the week. So you watching right now, you can help that. You can help make that happen. So I'd appreciate it if you do that. Give me a thumbs up if you're watching on Facebook, or give me a thumbs up if you are watching on YouTube, man. Today's episode is being presented in part by Drunken Fruit, drunkenfruit.com. Make sure you visit them. They do a lot of good things. One of my longest running sponsors. You know what I mean? Home team out of Brooklyn, New York. Dynamite operation going on over there. So yeah, check them out on the website and do that. I want to quick. We got some new partners this week. Shout out to all my sponsors and everybody that donated. This show is completely viewer supported. All right, so 100% top to bottom. So I got some new partners from yesterday. Angel Sauls Mtokafa, he's one of our premium donors. Dr. J Armstrong, she's one of our platinum donors. Vondell and Raul, shout out to y'all, man. Thank y'all for supporting. That's keeping the engine going, keeping the whole situation moving. I appreciate it. In this movement of sorts, is ways you can be active. You could like, you could call in, you could share, you can, amen, or you can donate $1. That's all I'll be looking for. Give me $1. Everybody give me $1. I'm good to go. If I get up to 50 people watching this show and everybody give me $1, we good to go. That's $50 an hour. Can't complain at that. So, all right, there it is. What is going on in the world today? We got a lot of stuff to talk about today, man. We're gonna keep it light, try to anyway. And by way of headlines, some of these things you may know, some of these things this will be your first time hearing it on this show. I hope you had a good day at work. I hope you home safe and sound. If you never left your house, you telework and you're sitting in your drawers, shout out to you too. But there was a NASCAR driver who quit NASCAR. We're going to talk about him a little bit later. Trump is planning on restarting his campaign rallies. You'll never believe what day he picked and where he picked to do it. There's a lot of people talking about an economic boycott happening in June through July. So we got some details on that. And Trump's birthday is on the 14th. And I saw an idea today about what we should be doing on social media on Trump's birthday. And I'll let you know what I think about that. And we got some videos, some throwback. It's Throwback Thursday, so we got some videos, some comedy videos, and some other fake commercial sponsors. And we're gonna get into all of that. So appreciate you. Again, the Cash App is Lamont King 06. Appreciate y'all. I got the new shirt. Shout out Wardrobe Custom Made Crafts on Instagram. Black Lives Matter Plaza. Shout out to them. You know what I mean? It's a new day, man. We're doing different stuff now. So that's what it is. Also, our guest today, stopping by for a little bit, is an attorney, young, high-powered, influential attorney, a young brother really making a mark in the legal field. I invited him on because I had questions, and a lot of questions that come up when we had these conversations. You know, you'll sit there in a conversation and you'll hear people talking, and you just think for a split second, you'll be like, I don't think that's right. But a lot of us are not qualified to correct in these conversations. So a lot of these questions have to do with law and legality. And so I wanted to introduce a segment called Against the Law. And basically what that is putting everything that you have, all your preconceived notions and half facts and what you think and believe, take those, put them in a ball and put them up against the law and see whether it's right or wrong. So welcome to the program. Right now is attorney Stephen Williams, Esquire, Prince George's County, Maryland. Welcome to the program, man. Let's go live.
Hey, thanks for inviting me here.
Good to see you. Hey, so first of all, man, we're just gonna, chew the fat a little bit. Just give us a little background on how you got into your profession.
Okay. Well, at this point in my career, I'm a prosecutor with the Prince George's County State's Attorney's Office. I started off in private practice after law school, worked for a couple of big firms, ended up down on K Street in Washington, D.C., representing a lot of interests, businesses, companies, and even some criminal work which was predominantly white collar. And I did that for about 25 years. And as I started, I guess about when Trump came into office, about 2016, I guess it was, I started being a lot more involved in the politics. And I had another young attorney who decided that she was going to run for office and ended up being elected to be state's attorney in Prince George's County, that being the state's attorney, Aisha Brayboy. And we had chewed the fat a lot about things that were going on. And she asked me to come into the prosecutor's office because that's where a lot of the decisions and a lot of changes need to be made. So that's how I was practicing a long time, but that's how I ended up being a prosecutor, which is where I am now.
So you went from private to what would that be called? What would the other one be called?
I went from private practice. I ran my own law firm, had as many as 10 attorneys working for me, and now I'm a prosecutor. I work.
But I mean,
for the state.
So you work for the state. That's what I was trying to figure out, the language.
Technically the county, but yes, it's called state's attorney, but technically the county is my employer.
Now, so your job is to prosecute crimes against the state, so to speak.
Well, yes, that's the way it's described. Technically, I guess I prosecute crimes against people, members of the state, citizens of the state. But yes.
So do situations like what we're seeing play out in the national media landscape? Do you ever deal with those, like police incidents with citizens, contact, stuff of that nature? Are those, or you end up defending them?
No. I prosecute, and our office prosecutes the police officers. Okay. That's done in a unit called public integrity. I'm in what's called strategic investigations, and we prosecute organized crime, a lot of gangs and serial offenders, serious offenses, things like that. So I don't prosecute officers, although in private practice, it's funny because I had plenty of opportunity to bring lawsuits against the state and the county while I was in private practice. So it's some people look at it and say, wow, you flipped to the other side. But it really wasn't that way in my mind.
Which is there one that you enjoy more than the other?
I can't say that. I think that when I was in private practice, I had the opportunity to represent individuals, and I had a lot of time fighting through the system. A lot of people had been arrested, charged with offenses, and I was helping one person at a time. One of the major reasons, and the primary reason I came to the prosecutor's office, is because now I have the ability to make systematic changes, or to have a systematic impact and help more than just one person at a time. There is nothing like being a prosecutor in the legal system. It is the most powerful of all positions in the legal system, as far as I'm concerned, even more so than the judge. The judges and defense attorneys, and the reason for that is if something happens, something you see on the news, something you see on the street, one of these videotapes pops up, before a judge even has the opportunity to decide to make a decision, it comes across a prosecutor's desk. It comes across my desk. I get the information. I get the videos and things that may or may not come out. I know about the case, and I decide, is this something that is worthwhile to be charged or not? And if I decide not to charge it, it's not even a question of a judge dismissing it or a grand jury not hearing it. It just doesn't get heard. And you see that that's one of the things that happened with Ahmaud Arbery with his situation. His case bounced around in the court system, and 3 prosecutors decided that they weren't going to touch it. And it wasn't until the videotape came out that someone decided that they had to. But if that tape had never been released, those prosecutors didn't necessarily have to ever prosecute it. With George Floyd, people were upset about the charges that were brought against him or not brought against him. And it wasn't until there was a lot of pressure from society, from protesters, that they actually brought in Keith Ellison who's the attorney general. That would ordinarily not be his job, but he's a special prosecutor that was assigned to this case, and he brought the additional charges that are brought forth now. But those prosecutors had decided not to charge him with anything more than 3rd-degree homicide. He wouldn't have been charged. No judge would have ever had a chance to decide.
Now we hear language, and I'm hearing words, and we try to process. So when you say those prosecutors, but on the news they say DA, is that one and the same?
It just depends on the particular way that your jurisdiction is broken down. In Maryland, we have state's attorneys. In certain places, they have district attorneys. It's just how your political subdivision is called.
So those are the prosecutors.
Those are the prosecutors.
Okay. So in that specific example that you brought up with Ahmaud Arbery, the DAs, the prosecutors, didn't bring the charges because they had a special relationship. It's been proven with one of the alleged killers.
Yeah.
So how is that? How are things like that subject to quality control, or are there any controls for things like that?
Well, I'm going to tell you, it's going to sound really cliche and anticlimactic, but throughout the United States, the prosecutors are elected positions, and if you want to make sure that cases that are important to you and your community get prosecuted, never mind the presidential election. That's important. But on the ground, the prosecutor that you elect, who in Maryland, we just had an election last week. This is an election year for the prosecutor this time, but those local elections are where it's at. That's when you pick the people who are going to prosecute and who are going to review crimes to see if anyone's going to be charged at all.
Now, how do you have to do it? What is the standard for whether you said you can make the decision? What is the standard for whether or not you push forward with charges on a given case? Is there a measure? Is it just how I feel about it? What I think I can prove? What?
Well, it's very subjective, and the term is prosecutorial discretion.
Okay. The
prosecutor who gets the case makes a decision as to whether or not they can make the case or if it's worthwhile to bring it. Now, most of the time in cases that are highly controversial, the state's attorneys will, if it's something that has a public impact, the state's attorney themselves will be involved, and they'll send it to a grand jury. That's what usually happens here, but it doesn't happen everywhere, obviously.
Right.
And if it doesn't happen, we've all seen cases that have disappeared or we've never heard anything about. I heard on the news yesterday there was another in custody death, and the body camera had not been released for a year. It was bouncing around the prosecutor's office for a year, and they didn't act on it. So if they don't act on it, it doesn't get acted upon.
Now, I'm gonna come back to that because I got a question about that. But Gianni asked for, you mentioned voting in your local elections. What should you look for in a local prosecutor? Election time comes around, I see the name on the billboard on the side of the road, but I know nothing about them or the type of person they would be in that position. So what type of things do you look for before election time in a candidate?
Okay, I think that one of the most important things, of course, is always social media, and you can listen to anything that anyone has said and look a person up now. But what I would say is very important is to send an email or somehow get in contact with any of the people that are running and ask them what is important to you, what type of numbers and statistics are you tracking, and what are you going to do with it?
Okay.
And the reason that's important is when you ask a person that question, and the person says, "Well, we have," you ask them, "How many people are in the jail?" And they say our detention center, and here in Prince George's County, our detention center capacity is roughly 550 people.
Mhm.
And there's some programs that you've heard about that are national programs or different offices are bringing into effect to release or reduce the number of people being held. If you ask that person, what do you want to do with people that are being held, people towards the end of their sentences, and they say, I haven't thought about it,
Mm.
or I don't know, or don't have a specific plan, then that's a person that doesn't have a plan, and that's not the person that you probably want to elect into the office.
Wow. Okay. That's a start. And to your previous point about different things happening in different places, how come there's no uniformity? If it's dealing with law and legality, right? You would think that it would be uniform. So how come these processes aren't the same across the board in different jurisdictions?
Every state has different laws. It's as simple as that, and that's why attorneys have to take a bar in every state where they're licensed, because every state has different laws that apply, and it's as simple as that.
Mm.
I want to bring up one point that we also that I think is very important now, because um, the protesters. This is another example. There's been a lot of protests going on in there, and you heard the president saying that he wanted protesters to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Right.
And immediately when I heard that, I said, "Wow, okay." The president's saying prosecute people to the full extent of the law. And so if you, Lamont, are out running up and down 202 and you get arrested and taken to our detention center, and your file comes up in a prosecutor's office, and we say, "Wow, why was Lamont doing that?" And you say, "I was getting ready for my show and I didn't like what was happening." The prosecutors decide what the full extent of the law is right then and there. And if someone decides we're not going to prosecute that type of activity in this community, you don't get prosecuted. If someone says, I'm going to prosecute him to the full extent of the law, you get charged to the full extent of the law. So again, it comes down to the grassroots level. And that's one of the reasons I just laugh when I see things like that, and when people talk about these national positions on things, it's national political statements,
Mhm.
but it's local in terms of how it's implemented. It's all local.
So the solution for citizens, for a John Q citizen, is to basically put our money where our mouth is. So if there's a candidate who we've vetted and we know their position, know their stance, and we see that they have a plan, we have to. It is imperative that we put money behind that candidate to fund their
It
campaign.
is. I want everyone to be aware. One of the reasons I wanted to address people is there's a lot of talk right now about criminal justice reform and
Mhm.
about defunding the police.
Right.
And when people talk about criminal justice reform, the first thing they talk about is the police department and changing policies of policing. They talk about sentencing guidelines that may not be fair, certain offenses that get longer times in jail than others. They talk about prison reform and how long people are going to stay in prison, what type of training and things they get in prison. But that fourth piece has to be dealing with things at your local prosecutorial level. That has to be a fourth level of reform. And the reason I say that, and I take, for example, things that I see in the community every day. We've decided here in Prince George's County, for example, we're not going to be prosecuted. There are a lot of people, there are a lot of young ladies who uh, who uh, may get into prostitution, tricking.
Tricky.
And in a lot of places, that is something that is criminalized.
Right.
In Prince George's County, you may not be aware, but there's been a decision that's been made that the people who are involved in the sex trade, the actual workers, are not going to be prosecuted.
Okay.
And I bring that up because it's one of the more interesting of the positions that's been taken, but that's because it's been determined that those people need help. And
Okay.
when they come into the system, putting them in jail is not the optimum way to resolve that. So that's how, when you talk about defunding the police and you talk about where money is going to go, services for individuals like that, domestic violence. There's in the prosecutor's office, there's a wing that deals with policy in general. There's a new policy that makes strangulation a first degree offense. It was not before. It was actually a misdemeanor. And that's important because in a lot of domestic violence situations, there's strangulation that occurs.
Right.
Everyone's heard about the decriminalization of marijuana. So that's another type of impact that prosecutors make, regardless or outside of legal policy.
That's interesting. So the new one about the tricking, right? Is that new? That's new? What were they before? What were they classified as for before? Now it's just a curious. Now that
Well, it's still illegal.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So it doesn't.
Okay. And don't get me wrong, it's still an illegal act.
Right.
It's still an illegal act, but the prosecutor's office has determined that the individuals, and they tend to be younger, they're teenagers, and sometimes not, or that people who may have drug dependency, that the way to rehabilitate them is not through incarceration.
Got it.
The decision that was made at the prosecutorial level is that there are other programs which we would prefer to divert people to instead of the criminal system, instead of the penal system.
Right.
And that's just one of the examples. It's funny. I grew up in the community here, and the reason that I like being a prosecutor, and one of the things that gives me the ability to, is when I see people come in, I get to actually make a decision and look at who they are, and that's something that doesn't happen everywhere. And a lot of people in our community fall into several groups. They committed an act, but they have a history of child trauma. They have a history of loss, poverty, victimization, and disengagement from school. Regardless of what the criminal act they did was, it was one of those things that I find the majority of the time led them to the criminal act. And so if I have the opportunity to have them go through something other than the legal system, because the legal system brands you,
right,
once you're charged,
right,
regardless of whether you get off or you get probation, it gets a lot more difficult to get a job, get into a college, become a member of the bar. Even though something may have been youthful indiscretion at the time, it's something that ends up permanently branding you. And I think it's really important for prosecutors, as part of this criminal justice reform movement, to sort of look at other solutions. And when you're talking about funding or defunding, I don't support defunding the police. And I don't think that people mean take money away from the police departments. I think they mean reallocate it towards different resources. And I think that would be beneficial.
When you say people, though, who are you meaning? Because a lot of people on the ground in these protests who don't have a clear understanding of what that phrase is, they actually are looking to take money from the police until someone explains it to them.
Right. And there's certain things that the police do that I don't think the police want to do themselves. For example, crisis intervention. Someone in your house has some type of disability, mental disability, whether and even if it's not diagnosed, they're going through some type of episode. The police do not want to be the people who respond. They don't. And money can come from the police department to fund crisis response teams. And some jurisdictions do have them, and they're almost always underfunded, which send people other than police officers who aren't trained to deal with people having episodes to respond. So if you're talking about rearranging funding so that certain other programs are supported, then I think that they're right. But anyone who's saying defund the police as in get rid of police departments, I think don't understand the movement. And from my perspective, from the types of crimes I prosecute, I don't think that people really want to the police to be defunded, because I prosecute organized crime and gangs. And you may say you can protect your neighborhood, but until the gangs are running through the neighborhood and you have to go outside with your gun and deal with a group of other people who have guns, or cartels are in your neighborhood, you're going to want the police then. So I think it's a reallocation more than just getting rid of them.
So
that's my understanding.
As we wrap this up, and this segment is called Against the Law, we're with Stephen Williams, Maryland, PG County, Maryland, prosecutor. As far as like, just let's go back to basics.
Sure.
Getting pulled over by law enforcement, and what are your rights? Because I see so many videos, right? And I see the videos where you got the empowered types who are like, I know my rights, and they spit in bars. They like, it's you can't so and so and such, and I'm letting you know based on code, this, that, and the other. And then you'll see the videos where it's sometimes the police is like, you're right, you're absolutely right, sir. Then you'll see the other videos where the police are like, I don't care about none of that. You know what I mean? So in that scenario, in that situation, in that moment, we already know that as Black people and Black men specifically, there are different things that we have to do to stay alive. We already know that. But I want to know, what are the things that are literally you are entitled to say and do during, let's say, a traffic stop? And specifically, do I have to show you or hand you my ID? Do I have to roll the window down? And do I have to answer your questions? Those are the basics. Because I see a lot of different videos with people doing different techniques and maneuvers and working. And then I see a lot of videos where it don't work.
Okay. In terms of your first one, showing identification, that can vary by jurisdiction, but generally speaking, you are required to show identification to a police officer here. No, I don't know if that's the case everywhere, but yes, you do have to show identification.
Show or like I can show it, or do I have to give it? Because that's the difference.
Typically they have to have an opportunity to see the identification to verify that it is in fact real identification. It's not a fake driver's license or written and typed up on a typewriter. So typically you have to give them the item. In terms of what I see is a lot of times I hear people being told to get out of the car. Now that's where you start to have more of a gray area. I'll tell you that the overarching theme is that police have a right to do whatever they determine is necessary for quote unquote officer safety.
Right.
So that can entail them patting you down. Then they can't go into your pockets, but they can touch the exterior of your body. That's why they can shine a light into a vehicle when they're walking up beside it to see if they see a weapon. Whether you actually have to comply with it, I would say you do. And even if you had some legal reason not to, the time to exercise that particular right is not on the side of the road when it's dark, when one of you has a gun and one of you doesn't. It's just the way it is. And was there a third part?
The third one was, do I have to answer your questions?
The answer to the question is no. You have to give their name. You have to follow orders, but you do not have to be responsive to questions. You don't have to answer their questions. And in fact, a lot of times answering the questions is what is used to give probable cause for them to get you out of the vehicle or to search. For example, do you have drugs in the car? Are there any weapons in the car? You don't have to answer that question. But if you do, and you say, yes, there are drugs in the car, there are guns in the car, or my favorite, have you been drinking tonight, sir? Well, just a little bit, it's over for you. Get out of the car because you just admitted that you were engaged in criminal activity.
But there's no real way around that, though. It's no real way around that. If I have been drinking and I say no, you're just going to say, well, I can smell it.
Oh, well, but then he has the burden of establishing that he smelled the odor of alcohol on your breath, and that is why he ordered you to get out of the car. But when you go to court and you have your attorney, that's the officer who's going to have to say that, and the judge is going to, and the prosecutor for that matter, is going to have to believe them. And I've seen cases where officers have said, I smelled alcohol, and the person has said, we were next to, something was on fire, the building was on fire, I was away from him, and he's saying he smelled alcohol.
Right.
And the officer may not be believed. But if you admit it, I can tell you, you absolutely can't defend it then.
Right. So, Kanar has a question. Everything you just said, is it different for walking versus driving? You still have to, as a citizen, do everything the same way? Like if I'm walking, right, and you walk up on me and you like, yeah, where you coming from? We're like, I decline to answer those questions and keep it moving. You're like, well, let me see some ID. I don't have any ID. Can you literally keep it moving if you're not under investigation or the subject of,
No, they can. A police officer can stop and ask you for identification if he has a reason to stop you. Now, the problem with that in reality is there will always be a reason why he stopped you. I was investigating this. A person fitting this description walked by. What did he look like? Black male between uh, 20 and 30, average height, average build, wearing sweatpants and jeans. That's enough for them to stop you and ask you who you are and to identify yourself. And they can ask for your name and they can run a warrant check. Now, that's not authorization to search you or anything like that. Although, if the officer feels like he needs to pat you down outside of your clothes for his safety, he could also do that. But it starts to get
yeah.
a little bit fuzzier. And if he finds anything, your attorney's going to have a great argument to say that the stop was illegal.
Right. All right. Last question. Everyone
Sure.
is Blurred Poodle says everyone is not made aware of these procedures. So how have you, and I'm guessing she means your office, increased awareness in this area?
Well, our office has a lot of outreach. We do webinars, we do events, and then a lot of this information is just out there to be consumed at a lot of individual websites, and you just have to apprise yourself of it. If she's asking specifically about Prince George's County, I would say you could go to the Prince George's County State's Attorney's website, and a lot of those things will be laid out for you. But again, as I pointed out, each jurisdiction sort of has different policies and puts emphasis on different practices. So you would have to do that in where you are to know.
All right, there it is. Against the law. Stephen Williams from the Prince George's County, Maryland State's Attorney's Office. I appreciate you, man. I know you get paid a lot of money to do this, so to take 30 minutes out your time, we appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna
Sure.
the questions is going. They just going. I'm like, nah, man, this is you got to put him on retainer. He can't answer it all on the first time. You know what I mean? So hopefully, if you got some time, man, we'll have you back for Against the Law, and you drop some more knowledge on us.
I would love to do that anytime.
All right,
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Talk soon.
Mhm.
Great questions, y'all. I didn't get to the last couple, but Against the Law, that's gonna be a new segment. It basically puts all the stuff you think you know up against the law, and we find out what really is and what really ain't. And now for our sponsor, man, that portion of the show. Again, we're broadcasting live from Tiny Closet Studios, and that portion of the show is being brought to you by a show called Tiny Kitchen. Enjoy. All right, there it is. Tiny Kitchen, the Lamb of God, episode 1. You know it made your mouth water. That's one of our sponsors right there. Shout out to Stephen Williams for coming through against the law. All right. Hey, Blurred Poodle, don't do that. This is your first time watching the show. I don't need all that. We don't need all that negative energy. That's called parody. You guys, when you watch a show on TV and they go from one segment to the next, you don't ask why they going to this segment. Just follow along. All right. Enjoy. All right, so let's get into some headlines, man. Appreciate y'all sticking with us. So here's some wild stuff I seen today. And if you tune into this show, you're going to be entertained and informed, and you're going to get stuff like a day ahead. You literally are going to get stuff a day ahead, because we were talking about NASCAR yesterday, and then today it comes out that yesterday we were having a conversation about Confederate monuments and should they stay or go. And one of our viewers, Leilani, brought up the point that NASCAR was saying we about to ban the Confederate flag. And I was like, yo, good luck. I said, that's going to be a fight. Said it on this very program yesterday. And then today we wake up and find out that one of the drivers, guy by the name of Rick Ciccarelli, I think it is Rick Ray Ciccarelli. I don't know. He's from Howard County, Maryland, actually, Ellicott City. He said, hey, listen, man, I can't go for it. I can't stand. I'm not even going to quote the original tweet, but he basically quit NASCAR. And this was news because it's not really any other sports news going on. But he said, some people raise the flag as a proud heritage, and we should be able to honor and embrace that. This would be news if he was actually, one of those names in NASCAR. This would really be worthwhile news. But I did some digging, and out of 31 races, he's won or placed in 0. And he hasn't his winnings, he hasn't earned winnings since I believe 2003 or 2004. So as on Twitter, I mean, he's been getting demolished on Twitter. I saw one of the funniest ones was Claudia Jordan. She said, you talking about quitting racing. It seemed like racing quit on you a long time ago. So good luck with that. You taking a stance. We support you. Ray Ciccarelli, we support you. If you want to quit auto racing and go back to the woods, then hey, man, one less. I support. Stand up for what you believe in. Stand your ground. So good luck with that. And other news. So I want to touch on this. I want y'all to see this. So let's talk about this economic plan. Kennard said they find him on his own page. That's terrible. I want to talk about this. So there's a couple things fresh off of the social media blackout, so-called, quote unquote. I don't know if you were around a couple weeks ago when they did the whole put a black square on your page in solidarity, and we don't know who was the point of origin and where it came from and all that. So there's talks now to do this right here. Let's take a look at this. Well, let me back up. So the most recent thing I heard was June 14th is Don's birthday, I guess. And everybody's saying flood your timelines with all social media with pictures of President Obama. And that's going to be exciting, and that's going to do it. All right, so here's everybody that's been sending me this, and if you're watching right now and you sent it to me, I'm going to respond the same way. No, that's dumb. Okay? Stop it. That's dumb. It's not going to do anything. Like, I don't even know what are we supposed to get from that game. Sure, petty, fun, something fun to do. Now ain't the time for that. It's actually pretty corny. Because he's not looking for none of that. You just want him to clap back, because that's all he's gonna do. He's gonna clap back all day. So that's a waste of time. Just to me, this is me and you talking. I'm not doing it. He's trying to shut down his Twitter. I guess if 100 million people will do it, I guess is that what's going to happen? I don't know. We already seen that Zuckerberg is in his pocket, so it's not like, you know what I mean. He don't have systems in place to block all of that. Anyway, all right. So let's move forward to something more concrete. I like this one. So Big Sis sent me this one. I don't know where it originated from. I don't know who came up with it. But there's a lot of a plan of actions or action plans that are people are finally starting to materialize and say, hey, we could do this. Let's try to do this. Those of us who can't do A, B, and C, let's do D, E, F. So this. Let's look at this one. So first of all, Friday we're gonna celebrate Juneteenth. More on that in a second. Push pin that. So day one, Sunday, June 24th, 21st, we're going to boycott big chain and department stores. Walmart, Sam's Club, Target. Even the ones, what about the ones that came out and said, we support you? What do we boycott them too? All right, day two. Boycott fast food and chain restaurants. Again, McDonald's, Popeyes, Hip Hop, Chicken, Checkers. Day three, we're going to boycott online shopping. Good luck with that one. Amazon after Bezos knew this was coming. That's why he said what he said. He said what he said. He said, hey, Black Lives Matter. I don't care what y'all say. I'm all for it. He did that so y'all wouldn't include him in the boycott. But here we go. All right, day four, supermarkets. How we going to eat, Craig? Giant Shoppers, Price Right, Aldi's. I get it. Support Black business. I hate to be cynical. Cynical me has been winning all week. I don't know any Black grocery stores. I just, there's some farmers market I could get to, but it's only like one day a week. And I don't know. So I don't know how that's going to work. Day five, repeat days 1 and 2. All right. Okay. And day 7, do not spend any money at all. That's June 27th, period. Shop and get what you need on the off days. Is what they're saying. This is the idea. Spend Black on any day. Shop farmers markets and local Black owned businesses. Share with family and friends. I mean, good start. I'm not here to pick it apart. Good start. It's, everything you got to put a critical eye to. Yeah, Raynetta said I'm a prime horse, so I'm not too sure about that one. Like that Amazon, I don't know. 3 months of ordering in, coming to a screeching halt. It's gonna be a little difficult. And then, so who's coming up with this? Who put this together? Because I seen the one that say July 7th was National Blackout Everything. Don't even leave your house. Don't spend a dime. Like what? Which is it? Are we going to this week and then does it go into week 2? Hey, I'm with it. Whatever it takes. I just hope people buy into it. All right. All those places will see a surge the day before. That's what John said. So basically, you're still giving them the same money. All right. All right. Next up. National Blackout. Oh yeah. So speaking of one of those companies, Starbucks. I don't know if you saw this. Starbucks. It was I saw this on MSNBC today. So Starbucks has apparently they have a mandate, an internal mandate. A memo went out and said, first of all, they're closing a gang of stores and laying off a whole bunch of people. But they sent apparently they sent a memo, and the memo was like, be advised, remember our code of conduct. We don't get into political conversations and discussions. So no Black Lives Matter attire can be worn in the store. I mean by the employees or whatever. And so I was like, that was curious because I was like, that's a interesting position to take where y'all just came off of a serious issue with the brothers in Philly and you had to do a nationwide retraining and all of this. That was 2 years ago, maybe, if that. And you're gonna take this type of hard position in the times that we in right now. That's interesting. And so some of the employees who let the information out also pointed out the fact that they encourage advocacy of LGBTQ equality issues, which again can be argued as political. So which one don't you want and which one can you have in the store? So a lot of people are kind of confused and they like, yo, Starbucks, you gotta do you need another retraining because you contradicting yourself. All right, so let's go back. I need y'all input on this one. So I'm gonna open up the phone line in just a second. Shout out to our sponsor. Shout out to the maker of the shirt. You see it? So I'm gonna open up the phone line. So Donald Trump, right? So he's starting his rallies again, and it has been announced that well, here's something he did today. So in Dallas, Texas, he went to meet with to have a police reform, social justice discussion and police reform with members of leadership in Dallas, but 3 people weren't there. The top 3, they're all black. The top 3 police officials in Dallas were not invited to the meeting. So weird. The secondly, it's been announced that he's starting up his reelection campaign rallies, and he's decided. It was made public today. CNBC is reporting that he said that if there's a second wave in America, he's not shutting America down. So he's holding firm on that. And his first rally is going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma on June 19th, on Juneteenth. So I need to hear from y'all, man. I need somebody to vent for me because I may not have the words. I put the phone number up, only taking one call. So if you have an opinion on this or anything of merit, or even if it ain't a merit, if you just want to say some bullshit on the show, what Juneteenth, your first rally. I feel as though, and I've seen so many opinions. Yeah, it's very problematic. I feel like it's nothing's accidental, so it's not surprising. I'm not saying it's surprising. I look at past when things happen. I look at what's past and all right, what is he trying to make happen? Like what is going to happen that week? Because I've already been seeing people on social media talk about they riding to Tulsa. You know, for if you don't know your history, that's 1921. That's the site of the Black Wall Street massacre. And so Tulsa is very significant in that history, in that regard, to Reconstruction era and Jim Crow and them just you know, a whole community of post-slavery blacks who pulled themselves up by their bootstraps, owned hundreds of businesses, land, property, and white folks just got tired of it, and you know they bombed them and massacred them all on in the span of a couple of days, almost 100 years ago. And so for him to deliberately say, all right, we having this Republican rally in Dallas, in Tulsa on that day, completely disrespectful. All right, let's see. All right, welcome to Let's Go Live. Who's this?
Yo, it's John.
Hey, what
All
up, John?
Fun and Games. What's
All
good?
fun and games. What's good with you, baby?
All right. So look, here's my thing regarding Trump.
Mm-hmm.
His blatant, disregard for anything that would even remotely seem offensive is so fantastic that I'm sure if someone even buzzed the notion to him that this might be offensive, he'd say, well, my blacks love me. They'll show up. We're good. The blacks are over that. He already knows what we think. We're over that. You know what I'm saying? That's the past. Let's go there and show him what's what. He has no regard for the significance.
No, but look, this is what I'm saying. I think he does.
Okay.
I think he does have regard. I think he's doing it on purpose.
So, okay, if he is, that's even more of a tell. It's the dog whistle once again, to say, fuck y'all. I'm going to do this on top of everything that's going on in this last, a couple months. That's the massive middle finger. You know what? And you know what? The first thing I'm going to do is when I hit these streets, I'm going to go to the place of the most major pain and one of the biggest significant massacres in United States history. And I'm going to go down there on those streets and say my name. And I dare y'all to say one thing about it.
Yeah. That's what I think it is. I think it's a stunt. But not even a stunt, a flex. Like, I really think he trying to get it kicked off in a major way. That's
my man. He makes every, just to incite every kind of piece of anger from people that he possibly, just when you thought he couldn't do enough.
Yeah.
Just when you thought he was dead, just when you know he didn't have anything else left in the reserve tanks, he comes out and says, you know what I can do and piss him off? Let's go to Tulsa of all places.
Right. to
you know,
to
and
get
then
them,
you know,
steam
on
them.
the way back, let's double through and piss on the Bettis Bridge while we on the way back to the crib.
Right on the yeah on a Sunday,
right?
You know, on a bloody Sunday, I can see him doing that. All right, so
Yeah.
what do you think about let me put this back on the screen.
Okay.
What do you think about this economic plan?
I mean, bro, it's all well and good, but I think that calendar I think was amazing that you posted because you know, like I mentioned in your comment, man. Oh, okay, we're not going to Target on Wednesday. All right, let me go ahead and run it this Tuesday. Let me go ahead and run to Target real quick and load up on all the things that I wanted and the 30 other things that I didn't know I was going to buy before I got there because tomorrow I can't go to Target.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think something more effective would be, pick your whatever. I truly think it'd be more effective if you pick, you know, something that was like take your Starbucks, for example.
Okay.
Someone like that, like a company that literally, you know, made a stance and said, look, we're not trying to hear none of your political views as an employee. You need to come in with just with your, I don't even know what color shirt they wear, with your green shirt on, and that's it. And you Starbucks for these 8 hours while you're here. You belong to Starbucks. We don't care about your opinion. See, they made a company-wide statement. Pick a day or pick a month or pick the next 6 months and say, you know what, Starbucks, y'all not going to get it. You know, pull up that list and say, you know what, companies A through Z that we know exactly
like
where your stance is.
Hit one company hard and just smash them.
You can hit several.
Yeah.
You can hit several. If they show their colors, if they take their mask off and they say, hey, we not for y'all shit, then okay, good. Y'all not going to see another dime one from us, point blank, period. There are other options.
Right.
I ain't got Starbucks. I can go to Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
I don't have to go to, Home Depot had to make a statement. Look, that was our founder. That's his opinions. He supports Trump. He hasn't been on our board in X amount of years. We cool.
Right.
Like people, because we're noticing that y'all not starting to come to our stores anymore. So, hey, just so y'all know, FYI, that's our founder who's not on our board anymore.
Right.
And he's doing whatever he wants with his money.
Right.
That's not Home Depot money anymore. We gotta let y'all know. If you're not trying to let the people know, good. All right. Let me take my dollar over here across the street or down the block, or to, the person of, black man, black woman, whoever else can give me that same service.
Yeah.
Without, but at least I know where you stand. I know where my money's going.
All right, there it is. Hey, I appreciate you calling in, John. Look for me and John on our podcast, All Fun and Games. And it's exactly what it says it is. So you won't get none of this political stuff. It's all fun and games. So look for that. We're recording soon. Appreciate you calling in.
Yes, sir.
All right, Doc. All right, let's hit another sponsor real quick. It's Throwback Thursday. So let's go back to that one time when I played basketball in Cuba. Who's your favorite player? LeBron
James, Stephen Curry, Kyrie Irving,
Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving,
Kevin Durant,
Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. Okay, all right. Are y'all playing? You playing? I'm gonna come. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play ball. I gotta play ball in at the park. I have to. Mitchell, Junior.
like LeBron James, King.
He likes King James. I'm gonna see what his handle looks like. Let's see. Oh, we got one.
Come on.
Still got it. All right, right about now, I want to let me see. Right about now, I want to bring my man in. Yeah, that was cute, man. The Big Zoe Talks. Welcome to the program.
Yo, first of all,
Wait a minute, hold on. Let me turn this off. Hold on.
oh,
Yeah, because I know you seen it. I know you seen it.
I've seen it before, but now it's time for a documentary. That's a scene from a documentary, bro.
From a documentary, yeah, soon to be released in 2022 because it's
still got it.
Yeah, still got it overseas.
Still got it.
So look,
it
like when you see it on my resume, I said, "Yo, I play ball overseas." That's
like, when? What year?
It don't matter. I played overseas. That's how that rap is. You know what I'm saying? What's good with you?
Yo, tough times, but we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. I mean, it depends on where you're living and what you're going through. You're going through something, even if it's just in your thoughts.
Yeah.
That's why you have a lot of these companies, they saying, okay, we know we want them to believe that we care.
Now, if you're just tuning in to Let's Go Live with Lamont King, we're wrapping up. We're coming to the end of the show, but this guy right here, man, this is the Big Zoe Talks. One half of the Street Senators, one of the coldest podcasts to ever do it. Him and I have been podcasting since easily 2005, 2006, before it was even called podcasting.
True.
So yeah, man, it's good to see. So a lot of people, you're like, I don't know. What is he doing? What is he doing? Well, he's off the grid. Big Zoe's off the grid. He's a prepper. He's in training. All of the above.
Yes. But I did go downtown DC.
Oh, you went down there today? Black Lives Matter.
Just to see it. I know we got to wrap up, but
go to the.
Well, you got to wrap up because this is what's this one called?
Let's Go Live every day from 5 to 6, Monday through Thursday. But
Let's Go Live.
Went down to the plaza, Black Lives Matter Plaza.
I went like close to 16th. Like,
what's the energy like? What's the energy like down there? What's it like? What's
it's sparse. It's real sparse. It's every type of Fed there. From all the different alphabet agencies. It's real calm. People are on guard. The civilians and the feds and the military, because military's there too.
Mm-hmm.
Is what you feel in the air, bro. Even though you're looking at Black Lives Matter on the concrete, you're like, yo, didn't believe they was gonna do this one.
Right. And that is talk. Philly did one, and then now there's another organization. I heard this today. Another organization. What was it? I gotta find. They want to write something, so they're petitioning to get something written down. No one is above the law. No one is above the law.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, is this a trend? Because that's a slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope.
If I'm an organization that you know with got all my rights and everything and good standing and all that, and I got these petitions and these signatures, what's to stop me from getting some street work, some street action painted? What's the I got something to say too. Hey man, I run a nonprofit down the block, man. We want to take the street and what's to stop it?
I think at the end of the day, we have to have more awareness. What's the plan? What's the agenda?
Yeah.
We know the problems. Who is really talking about solutions? And we need to raise that person up. I mean, solutions that make sense.
Well, a lot of people are.
They are, but what's the plan?
Yeah.
If we had 100,
there's a lot of
cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
What's really getting made?
It's almost you just got to pick one. You got to pick a plan.
So there we go. So that's what we need to push that message.
So Eddie Bryant says Claude Anderson has a plan, and he's had a plan for years. And again,
big up Claude.
Yeah, he's had a Powernomics. I'm still working through that book for the second time. Powernomics. Yeah. He's had a bona fide, written out, handprint, etched in stone plan for years, but since most of us wasn't on that time, and now it's cool to be woke. Now everybody wants
trending. It's trending to be woke.
Yeah, it's trending to be woke. So now everybody want to, okay, that's cool, but we got a better idea over here. The 25, the 20 somethings, we got a better idea. The the teens, we got a better idea, or everybody now it's like a competition. But you're right. Claude has had it, and
Claude has had it, and I mean, what was the reason why he was never lifted up and said, you know what, this could be one of our leaders? Because he's not just talking about knowledge and history; he's actually giving us a plan and being very logistical about it.
Well, I talked about it yesterday, and I feel like I want to go back to college just to get a thesis in this. I have a hypothetical that I laid out yesterday. You didn't catch it. I feel like all of this is happening only for one reason only.
What's that?
Timing. It's a matter of timing. What's missing from your lifestyle that hasn't been there since February? Just from culture, your lifestyle,
just being around people, being around different experiences.
There's a thing that's missing. And if I could prove and map out year to year and line up different uprisings and protests and events, sequence of time, and match it up, I prove my theory. Sports. Sports. The reason why this has gotten so big is because it's the absence of sports, competitive and professional. You ain't got nowhere to take your kids to the game or practice.
To release the energy.
A game not to release the energy. It's a distraction. Like, that's a part of our life. That's a way of life that's been missing for 3 months.
And we used to doing that for annually.
But it takes up everything in your day. Just think about your favorite team and hearing people discuss their favorite team. I mean, people are experts. Like, literally, that can take your day. Like, I would have gone and joined the march, but the game was on.
That's true.
I would have did this and that, but I had to take my son to soccer practice. I would have done so and so, but
I had to be in this meeting.
So and so is playing. Like, that sports is so big and a major part of our life. I feel like the fact that it's missing and you don't have that to talk about or do or see, that the energy that this movement has gotten was able to build. It sounds simple, but if you look at it, even going back to the civil rights movement, like, I mean, we've had people killed on camera. We've had riots. They didn't last long because the game was on.
Well, that and social media. I mean, social media just opened the Pandora's box.
I give you
the access.
10 years of social media. There've been riots and killings on camera in 10 years. Sports has never stopped.
That's true.
Sports has never stopped.
That's true. And if it did, it was minuscule.
Brief, yeah. And it was a league that stopped. All sports did not stop.
Yeah. Not across the board, globally.
No, all sports. So it's something to that. And so with that being said, sure, you call it a reach, a stretch. But with that being said, when they return, then what's going to happen? And why? And maybe that's why they so pressed to have it return to a party.
Well, that and just pure deep money.
Well, yeah, of course.
I mean, just that alone. But you're right. The sports will begin to or continue to distract us.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
Like, forever.
I mean, before the shutdown, you remember Trump brought them all to the White House.
Brought who?
All the for each sports organization.
Oh, yeah.
Sat them down and said, look, this is about to happen.
Oh, you think that's what happened?
Come on. It happened like a couple weeks later. When the shutdowns happened.
Okay. I see.
So they got the heads up like, yo.
I see where you're going.
It's going down. So this is how it's going to affect you. But we need you to relax.
All right, that's too much. You're giving them too much. We got to say that for Street Senators, the podcast. So tune into my channel, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube channel, to get all the shows, man. All the podcasts is going to be on my YouTube channel. Like I said at the beginning of the show, my management said I got to get 1,000 subscribers by the end of the week, and I can do it with y'all. Man. We can do it. You know what I'm saying? Thanks everybody tuned in. Thanks for Steve.
Didn't it do it?
Yeah, and thanks for stopping by the Big Zoe. I know, because people after you, and I know you got a lot going on. That's what the thing. So I get it. So I appreciate you taking time out to you know what I mean, come through. Let's go live.
Yeah, peace.
Yeah. It's my man, the Big Zo. All right. So look, tomorrow I'm on Karen Hunter Show, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time, Sirius XM 126. I still believe that it may be free to get the app and get the service. So this show will return on Monday, inshallah, Lord willing. We got some special guests coming up next week, and we talk about a whole bunch of stuff. So make sure you share, please. Once this goes, share it on your page. It don't hurt. I'm looking for $1 from everybody just to, keep the operation going here in Tiny Closet Studios. And y'all be safe, man. Enjoy the rest of your Throwback Thursday, man. And don't do nothing I wouldn't do. And if you did, don't say you got the shit from me.